on the community tab. This is going to be part 2 of securing the legs on the layout. As you guys know, last video we got it up on legs, so I'm waiting for
Boy!
Kratos?
No, it's me, Durley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I was just talking about you and saying I was waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like...
Oh, we're doing, we're finishing up the leg video.
Yeah, we're securing the legs.
Yeah, securing the legs.
Securing the legs.
Hey, you're going to have a little bit of time-lapse video of us putting the legs on. Mm-hmm. And today we're just doing a little additional bracing, just to make sure it doesn't wobble too much. We're going to have to do another quick clip of this, get some more bracing strips, but that'll be within the next week or so. So you'll see a little bit more.
Now, I promised a little bit of information to these guys, but first, do you guys know who this is?
Me?
Yes, you.
I'm the Durley.
Oh yeah, but like, do they know who you are?
Do they? Well, to know the Durley, we must first start in Fairbanks, Alaska, Alstrom Air Force Base, somewhere in the late summer of 1979.
6 hours later.
Yeah, I'm Joshua Durley. I'm Charlie's dad.
He's my dad.
Yeah, you notice the resemblance, of course.
We look the same.
I'm basically identical.
Yeah. The eyes, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I also promised them a little bit of information and background on the layout, since this is like the 3rd video. This is the first one with you, like, really interacting.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the layout started out. My dad, he built a Christmas layout for Christmas time, an HO layout, and it was designed to have the tree right in the middle of it. It also had running water, and it's got a wooden cantilever trestle, double cantilever. That he hand built himself. My dad is a master modeler, not as a profession or anything. He's an engineer by trade. He's retired now, but he worked in research and development in the Air Force. But he's always been into modeling. When he was a kid, plastic models and planes, and then got into RC aircraft. He's always been into trains. He grew up in Sandwich, Illinois, so the train ran right through town. And he's always had a layout as long as I can remember. I mean, some of my earliest memories are him yelling at me to stop messing with the trains. Until he got me my first layout, which was just basically a 3x5 sheet of plywood and some cork board or some cork bed and some tracks, and a little transformer, and a couple of cheapy trains and cars. And I would just love watching those things just cruise around. No terrain, no paint or anything, but I loved it when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite things.
About it.
Yeah, but my dad built this, and it was on display for several years, and he improved on it throughout the years. And then it got put away after one Christmas, and it never came out again. And it got moved around in the back room and shuffled and this and that. And it was stored, but being moved around like that, stored inside, it got a little bit of damage to it. And when Charlie and I met earlier this year in February, I talked to my dad about him and about how much he liked trains. My dad's like, well, I'm looking to get rid of this thing, and it's something really nice. Do you think he'd like it? And I actually thought it was a different Christmas layout. I thought it was a small 4x4 helix layout that he had, but he got rid of that years ago, evidently. I thought he still had it. I didn't realize this was the layout that he was talking about. It's really incredible. It's a really neat layout, but there's a lot of work to do on it since it has been damaged. Plus, we want to add some more track to it and just a little bit more to it. Just make it our own.
We have a lot of plans now. Yeah. I feel like we should mention one of the biggest parts that was going on in this layout back when a real tree was put in the middle.
Well, the real tree was in the middle, but also it has real flowing water. And that's something my dad has put in his layouts a bunch of times. He really, really likes that aesthetic because he hates the acrylic water effect. And I don't think he's good at it. I think that's why he's like, I'll just use real water. But maybe not. I'm not trying to say my dad's bad at anything. He's really good at becoming really good at stuff. It has a real flowing water. It's pretty incredible. It's a really, really nice layout.
Now, what about the things that your dad had to do to ensure the train could run on clean track?
Oh, my dad, he ran 2 locomotives. One was this hand-built brass and pewter HO locomotive, and that was his mule. there was a shay. So it had lots of torque, and it pulled behind it a brass cleaning car, and it was a kind of a trapezoid-shaped piece of brass with a roller inside of it, and it wasn't on any kind of axle or anything. It free floated in the cavity in the middle of the car, and wrapped around it was a cleaning media, and he'd use a goo gun, the orange goop gun stuff, because we used a real tree, and it would drop sap on the tracks, and it would make them sticky and corrode them, and make it difficult for the electrical connection to come through. And that ran through, and it constantly cleaned the tracks. But also, the other train that he had on there, the cars, wasn't powerful enough to get up the grade. So when the main engine, like the display engine, would reach a point where it couldn't go anymore, here along comes the little mule car, bump into the back of it like a big boy pushing
that stalled freight train
up the grade, and push it up, and as soon as it peaked over the grade, there the main engine to go and pick up its normal speed, and that little mule car cleaning the rails behind everything, and just here I go, little engine that could,
So there's your guys' little history lesson, like I promised, but we're talking a little bit way too much. You guys are here for the layout, aren't you?
Well, I do have to say, the legs are important on this, because this layout was built to just sit on the ground. It has never stood on legs at all. So we had to kind of do some torqualizing to it to make it stand up in there.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Well,
let's get on with it. Let's check out the layout.
Okay.
Is it still recording, or is it cut yet?
I kind of have to stand up.
Cut. All right, so here we are at the layout. We still got a bunch of tools laying on everything and nuts and bolts, but you can see what we did to the legs. We added some bracing on the short side, a little cross bracing. A little bracing over here, and this thing is solid. It feels as sturdy as it did when it was on the ground. I'm stoked about that. I've never built a table. And Charlie was right there with me, helping the whole time. We got just a little bit of stuff, torquing bolts down, maybe cutting them down a little bit shorter. We got 3-inch bolts to go through several layers of wood in a few places. And there's a few little things I'm going to do just to make sure it is completely safe. We got a bunch of work to do underneath to get the water going. We need to find some kind of clear silicone, like spray or paint on epoxy here for the riverbed. We have to replumb everything. We have to do a lot of work on this layout here. I mean, you can see how cracked it is. along the rail beds where, you know, the old plaster, there's holes in it, and you can see how soft it has gotten. So we're going to wind up actually just tearing just so much out of this out of here, and reinforcing it and making sure all the rail bed is really secure. There's a bit of rail on the other side over there that goes over the creek that there's no bridge. Invisible Superman is holding it up, you know. So we've got a lot of work to do to get it actually to be a nice looking layout. We need to get scenery for it. We need to get buildings. We're going to replace a bunch of track. We're actually going to add a bunch of track up here on the top. Maybe add a little bit more elevation. We're going to make sure we, you know, have a place where we scrap Canadian National boxcars and engines over here, you know. But this is real exciting. We're really getting going on this this donated layout, and it's going to be a great project. We really hope you stay with us until, I guess there's never really going to be an end to it. You know, we're always going to be tweaking on it and doing things, and then eventually we're going to be getting into the larger layout. But stay with us on this journey, and give us your ideas, your suggestions, your critiques. Make sure you, if you like us, subscribe us, like, blah, 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 all that. I hate doing that at the end of the video. But hey, you know, leave some comments. Give us some feedback. And until next time, have a good night.